Last Saturday, the eyes of the college football world were focused on Chapel Hill, where Florida State passed judgment on the formerly undefeated Carolina Tar Heels. It was a Seminole celebration on Bobby Bowden's 68th birthday, a party that once again vaulted the Noles back into the familiar rank of #1 in the land. And FSU wants to stay right there on top today against Wake Forest. Next. Looking at Chief Osceola on a gorgeous November day here in Tallahassee as the home crowd here at Florida State wants to see their Seminoles extend their unbeaten season as they host the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. Hi again, everybody, along with Doc Walker. Welcome to our ACC Game of the Week. Last Saturday in Chapel Hill, Florida State, Doc, did just what they wanted to do. They're in position in terms of the national championship.
Oh, so much for Judgment Day. All the Seminoles do is go down, they rip through the Tar Heels, and they take the turf as a symbol of their greatness. Now can they focus on Wake Forest and not look ahead to the Florida Gators? That is Bobby Bowden's challenge today.
Well, they will turn to a senior leader, Thad Busby, to try and get things done. Look at his record as a starter. He wants to finish another regular season unbeaten as the quarterback for Florida State. But as Doc mentioned, the Seminoles have to worry about North Carolina a week ago, Florida State next Saturday, overlooking Wake Forest. And Bobby Bowden says the Deacons have the Noles right where they want them.
A lot of times you play a great opponent, and then you have a letdown the next week. You're scared of a letdown. Or maybe you're playing a great opponent next week. Now you got to be careful you're not looking ahead. Now look at us. We're coming off of a chance of a letdown before a game that's one of the biggest we'll play all year. Boy, they couldn't have us. They couldn't have us in a better place.
Well, I don't know if Wake Forest would agree on that, but I know the Deacons feel like they have a shot at a winning season and a bowl bid.
And that was their goal from day one. Coach Caldwell and this group, you go back to the ECU game and the Georgia Tech game, two games they felt like they could have won. Now they have this obstacle, but he's done a great job despite having some injuries.
Bobby Bowden thinks that Jim Caldwell should be the ACC Coach of the Year. Jim is smart enough to know that all that talk of Bobby saying Wake's got Florida State right where they want him is just coach talk.
Well, I don't think that a team has gone undefeated at length like they have in several different years and seasons, they never have a letdown.
It'll be a challenge for Wake because they'll have to go with Ben Sankey, their backup quarterback.
Well, one thing he can say, he's undefeated as a starter. This young man has a tremendous challenge because of the pass rush of FSU. If he can hit one early on, it would be the best thing could happen for Wake.
Wake Forest trying to go to 6-5. Florida State trying to go to #1. We'll have more from Doak Campbell and Tallahassee. We'll go down to the field in Mike Hogwood when we return to our ACC Game of the Week.
Bank showed me how to take my credit cards, car loans, and using the equity in my home, combine them all into one loan with a lower interest rate. Smart, huh? I make one payment a month and it's less than I was paying before. And that definitely works for me.
Every now and again, I like to stop by Bell South's Emergency Command Center and pop in on my old friend Gary.
Hey! Tyler. Wish she hadn't come today.
Why?
It's not a good day.
Seems I came during a test drill.
The hurricane is blowing at 92 miles an hour.
When everyone at the command center practices for a real disaster.
So, how long does the drill last?
A week.
A week?
That's an average.
So it could be less, right?
Or more. That's what an average means.
I want those generators on flatbeds in 2 hours.
I mean, we've got rerouting systems to set up, emergency workers to send out to the site.
What are we going to do for food?
Food? There's no food. We simulate real emergency conditions. I'm just kidding. We got 50, 60 cases of sardines in the back.
I need more cable at the site.
You see, Tyler, no matter how bad the disaster, our neighbors need the phones to work. Because when they feel the world is crumbling around them, this isn't just a phone line. It's a lifeline.
You write that?
Co-wrote it.
Nice.
Today's ACC Game of the Week is brought to you by Nations Bank, by Pepsi, Generation Next, by Bell South. Bell South is proud to be the official telecommunications company of the ACC. By Exxon, the best way to get there. And by the Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company, the vision to power your dreams.
A sun-splashed day in Tallahassee, and this crowd excited because it is senior day. It's the final home game for many of these Florida State players who have accomplished so much here on this very field at Doak Campbell Stadium, and that includes the quarterback today, Thad Busby, guys like Melvin Pearsall, the tight end, Wadsworth on defense. A lot of great seniors are saying goodbye to Florida State football and their fans here today in Tallahassee. Now, what does Wake Forest have to do to hang in this game? Well, I talked to the coaches just a few minutes ago. They believe they have to establish a running game, and that means guys like Morgan Kane really have to step up. And if you remember a year ago, it was Morgan Kane who had a great first quarter against the Seminoles. He says he's ready to have a big game here today. Wake Forest feels they've got to take some pressure off of Ben Sankey, the backup quarterback who is starting today. They have to establish a running game. That's what they're going to try to do in the first quarter. For Wake, the first quarter, very important. And we're ready for the kickoff here. It's Florida State and Wake, an ACC showdown coming up next.
Thinking about your financial future? What better company to place your trust? Top 10 in U.S. life insurance and growing fast. A major provider of annuities, investments, and retirement planning solutions. Manages $22 billion in assets and does it all with some of the industry's highest financial ratings. Jefferson Pilot. Vision to power your dreams.
At first, I didn't want to go to college. I just didn't care. But now, I would like to go to college so I can be independent on my own.
The Exxon ACC Kids in College program is part of Exxon's continuing commitment to education. This program brings deserving middle school students to an ACC university to expose them to campus life and help motivate them to establish goals and start planning now for the future.
I've just seen an unbelievable change in their attitude towards school.
Exxon and the ACC, proud partners helping students reach for their dreams.
Have you ever danced in the kitchen? Enjoyed a romantic movie in bed? Or cheered your team to victory in a den? With Time Warner Cable's great programming, you can bring life to any room. Time Warner Cable, a nice part of life around here.
Doak Campbell with the flaming spear at midfield with Chief Osceola as Florida State has its final home game of 97. Doc, let's take a look at the keys to victory for Wake Forest and Florida State this afternoon.
Well, we start with Wake Forest. I think early on their receivers have got to realize they'll be in man coverage, and if Sankey can hit a big one early on, I think it really will help their chances. And for Florida State, don't waste any time. Come out, put the foot right on the throat, take care of business early, and don't let Wake get any confidence.
Wake Forest won the toss and deferred to the second half, so they will be kicking off. You see Davey Ford and Vanez Gooch. That's Vanez Gooch right there, awaiting the kick. Gooch will be the tailback starter this afternoon, and we'll talk about that story as the game progresses, as Matt Burdick gets this one underway. And it goes out of bounds at the 5-yard line. So Wake Forest will see the Seminoles have very good field position to start the afternoon behind senior quarterback Thad Busby. Busby out of Pace, Florida, having another good season, and Doc, even more so when you consider how young that offensive front was in front of Busby throughout the first part of this season.
Which started out against Southern Cal in the opener. I just think this entire staff is to be commended for the amount of young guys that they've implemented on both sides of the ball and still have yet to lose a beat.
They have become very effective out of the shotgun, and that's what they like to operate from most frequently now. And there's where Busby is with Gooch alongside him to begin the ball game. Jeff Myers trying to hit the snap down perfectly on a blitz. Didn't quite time it up and was in the neutral zone. It'll be offsides against the Deacons.
It was a good idea. I think you want to be aggressive. You want to disrupt things, get tackles for losses. But as you mentioned, he jumps a little too soon, and it cost him.
5-yard penalty marched off. Will make it 1st and 5 for Florida State. Jeffrey Myers, the free safety on the blitz. That's that tough call. You want the running start, but got to time it up. We'll set both teams' lineups in this first series at our best opportunity as it's 1st and 5. And Busby will put it up with protection. And the catch and the slip away, then a fumble, and Florida State will maintain possession because it went out of bounds. Lavernius Coles had the ball popped free, but a Deacon player could not fall on it before it went out of bounds.
Now, your classic missed opportunity. Again, Coles, number 7 in your screen, will come out, a nice little turn in. Ball is on the money. This is where they get real tough. You got to stop them right at the point of attack. If not, they pivot that rack, run after the catch. Now, this should be a wake opportunity. You got to seize that moment.
Dustin Lyman forced the loose football, but David Moore couldn't fall on it. Now again, movement on the line of scrimmage, and the Deacons trying to be aggressive. Jump off sides. The question is, were they drawn off sides? Kelvin Jones, the first guy to make contact, and
we have a dead ball, offsides on the defense. That's a 5-yard penalty and a 1st down.
Make it 1st and 5 again. I think Jim Caldwell wanted to start on defense and hope that you could set a little tone by catching Florida State early, but the big play and the penalties have not made it go the Deacons' way. They'll give it to Gooch, and he's got a little bit of running room, but he is brought down after a gain of a couple of yards by David Zadell. Let's set that Florida State offense. Melvin Pearsall had a big game a week ago against North Carolina. That front line, as Doc and I have talked about, a young group. One of the veterans, Kevin Long, has been outstanding in that center spot this season. 3-yard pickup for Gooch, 2nd and short. Busby, a little turnout route. E.G. Green, 1st down. Seminoles inside the Wake 25. David Moore on the stop, but E.G. Green, the 2-time all-conference wide receiver, has had another good year.
41st reception. Boy, they are classics. Catches the ball with those hands, all ball, and pretty good chance. This is one thing Wake has got to do. Get them down after the catch. Don't give up yards after the reception.
Running that no-huddle offense, Busby has the Seminoles threatening right here. Underneath route and caught. And going towards the end zone, just shy is E.G. Green at the 1-yard line. And that's what they do so well. The ability to run after the catch, as E.G. Green quite nearly had the 28th touchdown of his career.
If we were going to beat a drum all day long, he would be on this. Moses right there. So you got to make that. Trip him up. Get him down on the ground. If not, you give up an additional 13, 14 yards and a possible score.
Reggie Austin was the guy who stopped the touchdown, but it's 1st and goal. They bring in Khalid Abdullah as the fullback, and he'll get the football and score it. But there's a flag on the play. Khalid Abdullah into the end zone, but let's get the call from the linesman who threw the flag.
We have offsides on the defense. The penalty is refused. They have a touchdown.
So the Florida State Seminoles, with a couple of penalties and more perfect passing from Thad Busby, get on the board.
Well, they were somewhat disruptive, but they were their own worst enemy because of the 3 offside penalties. And they never really knocked them off. And again, score for the Seminoles. And this is what they do. Get on you early.
So freshman Sebastian Janikowski comes on to try the conversion. And it's right there. Well, it took less than 2 minutes for the Florida State Seminoles to find the end zone. They have the early advantage.
Unfortunately, most drivers are hitting the same place every time. And it's usually when the car insurance bill arrives. Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance. At Geico, we settle claims quickly so you can get your car back, because no one likes to bum a ride to work. Geico, a 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
The coming of age of the adolescent grizzly bear. A strange rite of passage where they cry out for their most primal, urgent need.
Heaven help us if they ever learn the Macarena.
Pepsi, Generation Next.
You know the old saying, you can't judge a book by its cover? Well, with Food Lion brands, you can. If you want extra low prices without sacrificing quality, just look for bestsellers like these.
Food Lion, extra low prices and more. Food Lion produce is inspected by a supplier, a quality assurance supervisor, and a produce manager. Why so careful? Well, because the next inspector is you. Food Lion, extra low prices and more.
Need a hand?
No worries, mate. Nothing that a juicy steak and a bloomin' onion wouldn't fix. Want to join us? Gordon, sorry, he gets a little cranky when he's hungry.
For an awesome steak and an Aussie good time, get to Outback Steakhouse.
Let me guess, you're a kicker, right?
No rules, just right.
Dula, but most of the work from Thad Busby, 3 for 3 and 50-plus yards. Janikowski's kick is coming down to Miles Savage at the 12-yard line. Savage finds some running room, and he's out over the 40-yard line and out of bounds all the way up to the 48-yard line. Took quite a hit at the end of the play by Jeff Cheney, but a 36-yard return by little Miles Savage. A flag on the play as well, and I think Florida State was offsides.
Well, he picks up 15 yards beyond his average. It's like we talked about on defense, how Wake had the blitz. Let's see who dishes out the hit. Let's see who receives it.
Jeff Cheney had that setup there, Doc. Miles was teed up for him. Here comes Ben Sankey, the redshirt sophomore out of Chicago, Illinois. A week ago with a solid performance in the victory over Rutgers, but a little different between the Seminoles and the Scarlet Knights. Herman Lewis will start the game at tailback, and he'll get the call trying to get to the corner. And he'll get a tough yard on the play as Dexter Jackson, the free safety, comes up quickly to stop Herman Lewis. Let's set that offense to B.D. Davis, among the career best at Wake Forest. Heads up a terrific skill group for Jim Caldwell. On the offensive line, a couple of seniors play in their final game, including Taris Clark, the senior out of Georgia. On second down, Sankey will operate from the shotgun, but give the ball off to Morgan Kane, and he'll barely get back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be a 3rd and long situation as Julian Pittman is at the bottom of the pile, the nose guard playing in his 3rd game for Florida State. Greg Spires had a huge ball game against North Carolina a week ago. A great linebacking core as well. And in the secondary, a young group with some changes. Samari Roll, one of the veterans back there, doing a good job leading the conference in interceptions. Wake about 38% on the year on 3rd down, but Florida State is very tough on this kind of play. They run the little fold screen. And I tell you what, Doc, Desmond Clark was being tackled as the ball was getting to him by Tay Cody.
Yeah. When you talk about tendency, well, Tay had this one figured out. He's in a press situation, doesn't get the block there. Deese goes out and he hangs on him. I mean, that's great recognition, way to follow through on it, and they dominate in the first series.
Peter Warrick will be back at his own 10-yard line as Trip Moore gets away. A high, beautiful kick Warrick calling for the fair catch, but it will bounce down and be grounded at about the 7-yard line. A terrific punt by Trip Moore to back up that Florida State offense with still more than 10 minutes to play here in the first period. In fact, we just passed the 11-minute mark of the quarter, so Florida State scores quickly and then stops Wake Forest with a 3-and-out. Florida State atop the conference. They've lost only one game in conference play, that to Virginia back in '95. And this senior group, Doc, wants to finish with another undefeated campaign in conference and overall play if they can.
A couple of these guys still remember '93 and that national championship.
Out of the shotgun, even deep in their own territory. Florida State will put it up out into the flat. A good open field hit on the play by D'Angelo Solomon as they got it to Vanez Gooch out of the backfield for not much gain.
Tough young man, D'Angelo Solomon. This is one of the keys for Wake Forest. You're not going to stop the dink passes, but what you can do is come up and nullify the progress. That's a textbook tackle. Good play.
Florida State wants to attack Solomon because he's not very big, but D'Angelo's had a terrific year, the senior out of Decatur, Georgia.
Real tough guy.
No gain on the pass, so it's 2nd and 10 as Gooch goes in motion and Busby puts it up again. Slant route, wide open. Peter Warrick breaking tackles, and he'll have a first down out over the 20-yard line. They are so quick, Doc, you have to give them probably more space than you can afford.
And they take advantage of the space because they fill the void. So far, no pressure now on Thad Busby. It's like 7-on-7, so you've got to get in, converge, and make a quick tackle. You really have to credit what Wake was able to do against Warrick.
Busby is 5 for 5. That was a 16-yard completion. Another Florida State first down. And Thad will put it up again. Same play. Warrick slips down, or he would have had more yardage. It will go for about 13 yards and another Seminole first down.
Well, it boils down to how do you want your poison. If you step up and press them, they beat you long. If you keep them underneath, great catch, good hands, concentration by Warrick, but I think it's Wake's best formula.
80 yards on 6 straight completions for Thad Busby. Underneath, it's caught by E.G. Green. Reggie Austin comes up quickly, but it's a gain of 8 more. Doc, right now, it's the hurry-up offense that struggles for it, makes it a struggle for the defense. What can they do here to try and change the tempo?
Well, you want a little pressure, more pressure from your front four. If you can't, you're going to have to bring a backer or bring one of the safeties with you. But I don't think you gamble right now for Wake. You try to get pressure like Austin did after the tackle.
Wake shows blitz, but it's held off, and on the running play, not much happening. Dustin Lyman again. Their leading tackler is there to make the stop, the sophomore out of Boulder, Colorado.
Sounds really crazy, too. You think that was, again, a good side stop by Wake Forest. If you can entice Florida State to run, you'd be a little bit better off because Busby back there with no pressure. It's just a matter of time before he's going to get a big one on you.
Third down situation for the Noles for the first time this afternoon. Busby puts it up against the blitz, and it goes incomplete. Good pressure up the middle by Kelvin Moses. Busby's first incompletion forces a Seminole punt.
That's just a great formula for Wake Forest. You're going to bring one of the backers this time right up the middle in his face, and you're successful with it. And for Wake Forest, no penalties.
So it brings on Keith Cottrell, a freshman out of Orlando, to punt it away. Reggie Austin, the safety, back at his 15 for the Demon Deacons. Cottrell nearly had that punt blocked. It's a line drive. Austin, trying to get to the corner, will run out of bounds at the 22-yard line. 8:10 to play here in the first quarter. We'll be back with more from Tallahassee after this word from your local ACC station.
Need a hand?
No worries, mate. Nothing that a juicy steak and a bloomin' onion wouldn't fix. Want to join us?
Us?
sorry. He gets a little cranky when he's hungry.
For an awesome steak and an Aussie good time, get to Outback Steakhouse.
Let me guess, you're a kicker, right?
No rules, just right.
I've accomplished a lot.
I was happy to go back to school.
When I can get along with my husband, that makes me very happy.
My family are pretty good. My daughter and my son seem to be having good, healthy lives.
I really love playing with my grandchildren.
I guess we learned to change, too.
Part of living is living with the possibility of breast cancer.
Ford Expedition, the only way to get there.
Are you looking for that red-hot gift this holiday? That gift that's hotter than hot. That special something that's on everyone's list. Then come to Wendy's and get a spicy chicken sandwich made with Dave's own blend of pepper and spices. Heat up your holiday with Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich. And while you're there, say hello to Dave.
Second possession for Caldwell's offense. They went 3 and out the first time. Jim in his 5th year and his best season yet with his guys as they start at their own 22 with Ben Sankey, the sophomore. On play action, steps up, trying to run, and down he'll go. As it was Andre Wadsworth with another hit behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, it's amazing that a guy can be that good and have played the nose tackle position the year before, then come out and show this kind of agility. I think what Ben Sankey does is real good at that point there. Don't try to make a big play. Go down, take your licking, and reload.
13 sacks, best in the conference. That tackle behind the line of scrimmage was the 17th time that Wadsworth has done that this year. 2nd and 12 for Wake Forest. Sankey with time underneath has Tabiti Davis, and he is out close to a first down. The senior out of Charlotte with a good catch. His partner on the other side, Desmond Clark, is the subject of our first report from the field, and Mike Hogwood.
Number 83, Desmond Clark, injured his shoulder last week against Rutgers. It was a separated shoulder. He is really sore today, but he's playing with a lot of heart and courage. He wants to be out on the field. He is out on the field, and the word from the sidelines is they're going to let him play as long as he can go.
Well, Doc, Desmond Clark, being from Florida, would have to have that much more incentive to want to be in the lineup for this one.
Yeah, that is a real large component for players to get a chance to play in front of the home folks and get it done. For Sankey, now first, pure completion upfield. Money's right on the, the ball's right on the money. Good operation. He's shown no fear so far. And you know, Jack, I think that's the biggest problem when you play FSU is if you panic. And if you panic at the quarterback spot, you don't have a chance to beat him.
The pass to Tabiti Davis was about a foot shy of a first down, so Wake will try and convert on 3rd down. Sankey on the quarterback sneak, and he didn't need much. Wande Shaw, the fullback, with the surge from behind to make sure they didn't push his quarterback back.
Well, help from your friend. I hope they pay attention to this, because I think this is the only way you have a chance against FSU, and that is right at them. They've tried to run plays on the offside, outside the tackle tight end spot, and have not gained a yard yet. So hopefully they'll put this foulness away and come back to more things like it.
They pick up the first down. Julian Pittman, the nose guard, going off as he and Larry Smith will alternate at that spot. Mickey Andrews likes to play too deep on that defense, give as many guys experience as possible and keep them fresh.
And there's no drop off. That's the key.
Sankey on play action, gets outside of Wadsworth, down the sidelines for Lick, his tight end. He had it and couldn't hang on at the Florida State 40-yard line. Good hit by Tay Cody at the end of the play. James Lick, though, had a shot at that one.
An opportunity that if you hope to play in a game and be an effective opponent against FSU and possibly beat them, you got to make this play. I like Sankey's calm. See, no panic, still looking downfield. Throws a little bit of a duck, but see that ball you can catch.
I think back to a year ago, Doc, when Wake missed on an early opportunity in the Citrus Bowl.
First play of the game.
When they played Florida State during the regular season in Orlando and couldn't come up with a catch. You got to make those. A quick hitter and not much there. Wow. Chris McCoy, the freshman fullback, really got toasted by the interior of the defense. Greg Spires was there to lead the charge.
We used to call these on offense quick openers. Well, this is a quick closer because look at it right there. Coward, he makes the initial hit, and then they follow. There's always a scrape and a hit, a top-off guy with FSU. That is their trademark.
Sam Coward, the Butkus Award finalist. 2 of the 3 finalists are from the ACC. 3rd and long for Sankey. Protection breaks down, and down he goes. Lost the football. It's picked up by Troy Saunders. And Florida State will have the ball deep in Wake Forest territory. Ben Sankey trying to avoid the rush, lost the football, and Troy Saunders nearly took it to the end zone.
This is the one thing that up until this point Ben had not done. You can't try to be Superman in this position. If you get away, see, now you're biding on free time. You got to think to yourself, take the sack and punt, because our defense just had their first stop. Now you give them the football and you put them right in front of the goal line.
Tony Bryant, a backup defensive end, knocked the ball free, and Troy Saunders comes up with the turnover. 15th fumble lost this year by the Wake Forest offense. Busby with a chance to put quick points on the board for the Noles. He wants it to the end zone, has E.G. Green, touchdown. For the 10th time this year, Thad Busby and E.G. Green connect for a Florida State score.
And this is why you don't want to give them the football in tough territory. Busby, they go right back at you. He looks at it, a little bit of a look off, runs a nice flag route, ball right on the money. E.G. comes out of his break, touchdown Noles.
Janikowski's conversion is right there. And with 5.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter, Florida State taking advantage of the Wake Forest turnover, increased their advantage to 14-0 as Thad Busby finds the end zone for the 21st time.
Now look, the meeting starts at 2. That means we got to be in Toledo by 1:45.
Well, look, we're not going to make it.
Hold on, you turn here, it takes us right into Toledo.
My man Jim, saving the day.
You're sure this is right?
Oh, yeah, I go this way all the time.
Traveling's an adventure. Where you stay shouldn't be. Fairfield Inn by Marriott.
On behalf of the Atlantic Coast Conference, we very much appreciate the commitment of our corporate partners in providing direct financial support to the conference and its 9 member institutions. ACC schools compete for championships in 24 sports and provide scholarship assistance for over 2,500 student athletes annually. Additionally, we have a continuing involvement with a number of outreach programs. We're proud that our corporate partners have joined with the Atlantic Coast Conference in this important effort.
Well, here's our nation's bank, a corporate partner of the ACC, with its Salute to Excellence question. This is a tough one, Doc. Now, you're going to have to think about this for a while. I know. Take your time. Hopefully, you'll get this answer. Which ACC player won the Heisman Trophy yet bypassed the NFL for the NBA? If you know that layup, log on to the internet address on the screen that you see right there with the correct answer before the fourth quarter begins, and you'll be entered to win 2 tickets to the ACC Champions Bowl game Stay tuned. We'll have that answer for you before the end of the game. And, of course, if Florida State wins this game this afternoon, they'll be the ACC champion and will be playing in the Orange Bowl. And if you win our Nation's Bank question, you could be in Miami, too. Much better kick by Janikowski this time, and Savage will stay in the end zone.
Smart thing. That's a smart thing to do.
Wake Forest will get the football at its own 20-yard line for its third possession, trailing 14-0. Next week, we'll wrap up the regular season in the ACC with a great rivalry, the Duke Blue Devils and the North Carolina Tar Heels. 12 noon from Kenan Stadium. Check your local listings for the station in your area carrying Duke and Carolina. 14-0 Florida State on a 1-yard or a short plunge by Khalid Abdullah, and the touchdown toss from Thad Busby to E.G. Green. Florida State will try and shackle that Wake defense again here, Wake offense again here, as Sankey will toss it to the tailback Herman Lewis. And Doc, I think when you try and run wide, you run into trouble against this defense.
Yeah, I mean, they've had, of the 4 runs or so, they've tried 3 of them now on the outside edge and not anything over the guard center gap. Not to say that that's easy, because they stopped them on that as well. Look at the honor roll.
How about second in total defense in the country and first in rushing defense? They allowed North Carolina a week ago 73 yards of total offense for the game.
Stifling, and you're trying to catch up.
Lots of guys up on the box, and they get the quick hitter out over the 25-yard line by Chris McCoy, the freshman. Sam Coward, 2 number 1s meeting together there, with the advantage this time going to the Deacons.
Yeah, well, this is what they need. I think that's the formula. You run right at them, the old quick opener. That way you don't put as much pressure on your offensive lineman. All they've got to do is make initial contact, get a little drive, and let the back find the crease. That's a heck of a linebacker.
Darrell Bush.
He's a heck of a linebacker.
A heck of a student athlete. It's maybe the best thing you can say about Darrell Bush. On third down, flags fly, passes complete to Desmond Clark. It's a first down, but let's hang on and check out the penalty. Dexter Jackson on the stop, second catch of the afternoon for Clark. Ronald Cherry has been busy already, our referee, heading up this ACC officiating crew.
We have offsides on the defense. The penalty is refused. First down.
Doc, talk about Wake Forest's approach to passing here this afternoon.
Well, they're going to go 3-step or a quick 5-step, and this you see it. Get back, hit that launch pad, get rid of the football. You know that you're not going to have a lot of time. They know it as well, and I've been impressed so far with Sankey. And I know as you watch Bobby Bowden, they're thinking, okay, guys, we want to nullify those first downs.
Play action on first down. Sankey going deep for his fullback. McCoy has it go through his hands. Again, Wake Forest with an opportunity, and the little fullback had a great chance go by.
Well, you build these plays in to your offense, and I know Hank Small just probably ripped his headsets off. It's so difficult to get a chance against a defense like Florida State. A little bit of the play fake. Ben Sankey sets up real well. He knows he has it. At that point, he's real calm. See, that's touchdown.
McCoy, after the play fake, as the lead blocker, ran through the secondary but couldn't make the catch. 2nd and 10, Sankey from the shotgun this time. Bad snap, ball is loose. And Florida State is not able to get there this time, as Sankey falls on the football, but it's a loss of a couple. It's the second fumble of the day. That ball hit Ben right in the thigh pad.
Well, they've had a problem with fumbles. That's their 15th fumble at that point. That's just quarterback center not being on the same page. But how many times do you see it? A missed opportunity and a touchdown, then you get a fumble because the team hasn't gotten a bad play out of their mind.
A 5-yard loss on the fumble, making it 3rd and 15. I don't like this situation against this Florida State defense. Almost a bad snap again. Down goes Sankey. Tony Bryant and Andre Wadsworth.
Coverage sack. As good as they are, and those two guys in Bryant and Wadsworth, are dynamite. But at this point, when you get back, we talked about the 3-step quick 5. Well, this is a long 7, and you're going to go down. You got to get rid of that football.
Andre Wadsworth took 300-pound Brian Wolverton and threw him down like he was Raggedy Andy.
He is some kind of guy. Defensive end. Speed, power. And there's 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, that's, Trip Moore had to get this one off in a hurry and hit it pretty well. Takes a Wake bounce and goes out at the Florida State 30. A 47-yard punt, and you keep it out of Peter Warrick's return capabilities, so that's even better. But now you give it back to Thad Busby, who has been terrific.
Well, they've been able to pick up a first down. They've gotten a first down now in the past 2 possessions, that being Wake Forest. Now they've got to strive to get 2, and they've got to get over the fact that they dropped an opportunity to score.
They've dropped 2 balls that could have been big plays for the Demon Deacons. Meanwhile, Florida State, for the 57th time this year, on the touchdown to E.G. Green, had a play of more than 20 yards. Busby will put it up on first down. Underneath, David Moore going over the top of Peter Warrick. All the officials in the stands wanted interference, and David Moore said, no, I didn't.
That's an excellent play by David Moore, because not often do you find people on the inside that will challenge these receivers, but he does. But they're going to bring it back.
Unfortunately, the Deeks were offsides. Fred Robbins, out of his tackle spot, was ahead of the snap count. That's the 3rd offsides penalty against the defensive front of Wake Forest. Another 1st and 5 opportunity for Thad Busby, and Mark Richt, the offensive coordinator, loves making these play calls. Busby, the quick slant to Lavernius Coles for a first down in front of Reggie Austin and beyond Kelvin Moses. Cole's 2nd catch of the day and his 19th of the season. Thad Busby has a chance to be the best single-season passer in Florida State history, and his efficiency today has been impressive. On first down, to the sidelines, to Coles again for another first down at the Wake 45. Reggie Austin knocks him out of bounds. Lavernius Coles was a tailback in high school, so you've got the speed, the versatility, and he says if it's a wide receiver, it's a chance to play.
And he gets the ball in his hands, and how do you bring him down?
Most efficient quarterback in the conference is Thad Busby. 10 out of 11 so far and a touchdown. Won't hurt that at all. Busby will put it up again. This time it's the underneath man, Melvin Pearsall. Pearsall heading for the end zone. Touchdown. A new Florida State record, the 10th touchdown reception by tight end Melvin Pearsall.
It ties Lonnie Johnson's record. Big tight end is rumbling. Had a score last week against the Tar Heels, an intricate part of this offense. Like to see the guys that get a crumb every once in a while for doing all that blocking. See, you feel like you should have gone down there. You had an opportunity. Then he shows you that a little bit of that old background, huh? Athlete can rumble.
And the conversion is good by Janikowski, and Florida State, as they've done so often this season, with a burst in the first quarter, they lead it 21-0. Thad Busby. What a first quarter of football. They are celebrating early here in Florida State. Another look at the touchdown.
Busby, ball right on the money, crossing route. See another opportunity there. Missed by Parrish. You'd at least like to slow him down, trip him somewhere. Nobody else is even in the vicinity. He's a 255-pound tight end rumbling down, basically untouched.
Go down to the field to Mike Hogwood. Mike, yesterday, Mark Richt, the offensive coordinator, talked about Pearsall not being as active in the offense early on in the year. Why is that?
That's because, Jack, they have such a young offensive line. They had to give make Pearsall help out on pass protection in order to give that offensive line a chance to mature. But as we've seen in the last couple of weeks, that offensive line has grown up in a hurry now, and that frees Melvin Pearsall to go out into the pass routes, and he has been very, very effective over the last 2 football games for the Florida State Seminoles.
You are looking at Mark Richt, the offensive coordinator for Florida State. His 4th year now directing the offense after Brad Scott moved down to South Carolina. And he has been nothing short of sensational in that role as he is combined with Coach Bowden and the rest of that offensive staff to really create a high-octane unit.
And as you mentioned, patience is the key for these quarterbacks at Florida State. Thad Busby had to wait for Canal to leave, and boy, did miss a beat.
Miles Savage, who had a good return before, this time can't get it out to the 20 as the special teams group of the Seminoles does a good job. As we told you, a record-tying catch for Melvin Pearsall. The 2 touchdowns this year have come in the last 2 ball games. And he's a young man who probably will not be done with his football career after the bowl game in January.
Oh, no. No, he has a future of picking up checks on Sundays.
Wake down 21-0. As Ben Sankey, the sophomore, in his 2nd collegiate start, bounces out of the pocket, can't get away from Tony Bryant. Boy, Tony Bryant, the junior, has had himself a good first period as he gets the sack. He now has a sack and a half today and more than 6 on the season for the junior out of Marathon, Florida.
And you see the pressure inside, but what you don't see on the outsides is Cody with great pressure outside on Desmond Clark. I mean, he ate Desmond alive, and he didn't allow Sankey anywhere to throw the football.
Let's go back to your keys, Doc, and look at the one that you said was crucial for Florida State.
You got to get open, make some plays. Then they've had a drop by a fullback, but not getting it done.
2nd and long. Sankey. The slant picked off. Touchdown. A 19-yard return. Was that Tony Bryant dropping off of his defensive end spot?
Murderer row, baby.
The first collegiate interception for Tony Bryant.
Bryant, who had 5 sacks, 7 tackles for losses. He gets a sack in this ball game, sweating it out. They're trying to get inside Davis with the slant. Great athletic ability. Gets out in the back, catches that ball like a tight end, and gets in the end zone.
He's 6'4", 270, and he finds the end zone.
Not fair. That's just not fair.
Janikowski's 4th extra point of the first quarter is right there, and in the final half minute of the first quarter, Florida State's lead grows to 4 touchdowns.
That a man can be this big and agile and get out in a passing zone, catch it with his hands, and then know exactly where to go. Do you want some, Sankey? Do you want some? I don't think so.
Probably, Doc. He was an outside linebacker in high school, and as he grew, they moved him into a down lineman spot, but still has the versatility to make a play like that.
And he's still growing.
Florida State showing no signs of a letdown or a look ahead to Florida. Just what Jim Caldwell feared going into this ball game. And Doc, let's get back to what you talked about in this first quarter. Wake knew they had to make plays to have it happen. Had 2 opportunities here to slow down the Noles with big plays on their offense. Didn't come up with the catches.
No, they didn't. They failed to do it. The Noles have turned it on. And we have to go back to that NC State game where NC State was down, I think, 21-zip. But they were able to mount a surge in the second half, put some points on the board. 27 points in the first quarter they were down, and they were able to turn things around and make it very competitive and put some points on the board.
Tony Bryant, 2 sacks, forced a fumble, and now the 19-yard interception for a touchdown. Sebastian Janikowski would think he's still playing soccer with all the times he's booted the ball already. This wasn't pretty, but it was effective out of the end zone.
That's power.
Check out this number. With the 28 points scored here in the first quarter by the Seminoles, they have now outscored the opposition 139-21 in the first quarters this season. That's usually the way you put a game away.
And you look at what has happened. Where have the mistakes been? Obviously, the interception for a score.
Of a dead ball, personal foul on the kicking team. That's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Well, that negates a great kick.
The personal foul taking place at the 16-yard line. So the mark-off will be out to the 31. So Florida State will see Wake have a little better field position. Now the question is, do they mark that from the spot of the foul, or do they mark that from the 20-yard line, because it was a dead ball foul?
That's right.
And the kick into the end zone, and that'll take it out to the 35. Good job by one of the
15 yards will be enforced from the 20-yard line. First down and 10 from the 35-yard line.
I think that was Ronnie Stewart, the side judge, who jumped in and helped out the rest of the crew. And
got to maintain control of the ball game.
Got to work it together. Yeah. There's Mickey Andrews, the veteran defensive coordinator, his 14th season as the defensive head here at Florida State. On first down, they'll toss it to Herman Lewis, trying to get around the corner. Gets a couple of tough yards out to the 38-yard line. Sam Coward is there again. Dexter Jackson up from his free safety spot as well. Sam Coward, Kay Mays of North Carolina, and Andy Katzenmoyer of Ohio State, the three finalists for the Butkus Award.
And what they all have in common is that they have those down linemen that get great penetration and allow them to have room to see and to get to ball carriers. And Jerry Jones on that last play, Jerry Johnson, that was quite movement.
There are those three gentlemen we mentioned that are the finalists for the Butkus Award. Of course, the conference had 5 guys as semifinalists. Sankey goes down under an avalanche of garnet and gold. Back at the 30-yard line, Andre Wadsworth is probably there. Darrell Bush gets off the pile. And an appropriate finish to the first 15 minutes of football, dominated by the Florida State defense and the passing of Thad Busby. Florida State on its roll towards what they hope will be a shot at the national title. They have the lead after a period.
Think he's going to show?
He's not here, and he's not going to be here. Honey, say something.
This is diet?
How could diet taste this good?
Oh, yes, dear. You gotta try this.
The Montana Grizzlies visiting the Delaware Blue Hens in a classic 1AA matchup. The Blue Hen safety, he cuts across. He's got an interception. He's at the 40, the 45, the 50, the 47, 45, and 5/8, and 3/16, and 2/27. Okay, TV timeout.
Part of the great scene here at Doak Campbell. This is one of the great venues for college football. They usually see a very good product on the field. Ben Sankey's been seeing too much of that Florida State defense. He faces a 3rd and 13 on the first play here of the second quarter. He has been sacked 5 times today as Florida State just keeps adding to its total. 53 in this, their 10th game of the year. Sankey, down goes the Wake quarterback, Andre Wadsworth again. Take a look at our Geico first quarter stats, and as you would expect, domination by Florida State. Biggest number, Doc, has to be the time of possession. It looks like Wake's had the ball all the time. But that's because Florida State just doesn't mess around.
Get it done quick. Boy, the tackles now are going to need some help. Both Wolverton and Flo are just beating right off the ball.
Trip Moore with a couple of good punts in the first quarter for Wake Forest. Letting that huddle clock run down, and now it ran out. Not really sure what that was all about.
Have a prior to the snap, have a dead ball, delay of game on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty.
Jim Caldwell a little puzzled. I mean, everybody looked to be in position.
Yeah. It was like one people could try to shorten the game.
So Moore will back up 5 and kick this one towards Peter Warrick again as the Florida State return man waits at his own 40. Moore with another good high kick. Warrick steps around the first wave. Look out. Peter Warrick has more to beat. Flags fly, however, it's going to come back. Peter Warrick finds the end zone, but there's a penalty flag back out at the 36-yard line.
Yeah, that was right in our view, buddy.
And another flag down at the 1-yard line. It negates a 62-yard return by Peter Warrick.
Yeah, we saw that right in the middle of the screen.
Might have a second penalty, Doc, down near the goal line. See what Ronald Cherry says.
On the return, on the receiving team, a 10-yard penalty for holding. Also, on the score, we have a dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct for excessive acceleration also will be administered.
So it will end up being a 25-yard penalty. Look at Mickey Andrews. He's not happy about that.
Let's see, middle of the screen, 24 will come right up. He's trying a little peel block, but he's going to hold on to it right there, middle of your screen, and he grabs. Looks like that's Clark that he grabs. And let's see if we can take a look at the second penalty. Here's Warrick going on, saying he's number 1. A little prance. Drops the ball and see what happens.
Well, throughout the year, there has been an obvious push towards avoiding the spotlight type of celebrating, and it ends up costing the Seminoles 25 yards in penalty mark off to the 38 of the Noles. Busby, the quick slant. Warrick has got it again. Can he go the distance this time? Gets chopped down at the 43 of Wake Forest. A 19-yard pickup. DeLon Parrish on the stop. Travis Minor in the ball game now at running back for the Noles.
Peter Warrick, unlimited skills against Clemson. He had 8 catches for 249 yards, and a lot of it is after the catch. Boy, it's a killer move right at that point.
Busby again. He's had only 1 incompletion on the day. Finds his target. And it'll be another Florida State first down, it appears, as he gets the ball to Damian Harrell. Reggie Austin on the stop. Harrell, the 5th-year senior out of Miami. David Zadell there for Wake Forest as well. They've had only 1 third down play on the day. That's the only incompletion on the day for Thad Busby.
Moses on a run-through inside on that one.
Already over 200 yards. That pass hit the umpire as he tried to go to Melvin Pearsall under the coverage of David Zadell. Sometimes, Doc, don't you want to use as the tight end, use the umpire as a pick?
Yes. You try to do that. I don't know if that was his intention. Zadell had pretty good coverage on this. He reads him inside all the way, has a hand on him. That's just good defense, good coverage.
After 6 in a row, the incompletion makes it 2nd and 10. Everybody's spread out, and Busby will throw it again, going all the way for Warrick. Incomplete as he battled with D'Angelo Solomon in the far corner. It'll be 3rd and 10. Good coverage by the little guy out of Decatur, Georgia.
Key to this one is that he locates the football. There he's locked up in man. He's looking inside, reads the quarterback. Now he becomes receiver. Slight little push off there. The good ones have a way to do it and get away with it. He pulls it off.
Second third down situation of the day for Thad Busby. 3 wide receivers and a tight end in the alignment for Busby. They pick up the blitz. Slant route. Warrick, what a move on Solomon. First down inside the 15. They are so frightening after they catch the ball.
We're playing out in the park right now. We say that that's nasty. I mean, Busby, again, we can't take away the fact that he's putting the ball right on the money. And see, you got to know going in. If I catch this, I'm going to spin on this guy. I'm going to take this guy that way and juke on him there. That's a lot to do all in one motion.
60 plays now on the year of 20 or more yards by that Florida State offense. Wow. Busby looking to the end zone. E.G. Green, touchdown. Second of the afternoon for the senior out of Fort Walton Beach. And it's 34-0 Florida State.
Mark Richt, the coordinator, I mean, where does he find blame at when he goes over his field with his troops? Hey, gentlemen, you guys did a heck of a job. Well, this has been a clinic so far.
Sebastian Janikowski with his 5th extra point of the day. And 3 minutes into the second quarter, Thad Busby with the passing clinic ongoing for the Florida State Seminoles.
It's amazing what you can order by phone these days. Most amazing of all, you can buy car insurance direct from Geico over the phone. You could even save 15% or more. And who couldn't use a little extra money around the house? Geico Direct, a better way to buy car insurance.
At 6 a.m., my coffee maker grinds its own beans. Wake up and smell the coffee, I'm there. I buy books on the internet, I fax, I email. I am at peace with technology. So, you'd think that since Nations Bank lets you bank just about any way you want, the big question for me would be, do I bank by phone, or do I stop by Nations Bank on the net? Or do I use one of their 2 zillion ATMs? You know what, I still go to Nations Bank in person. Hey, I'm an old-fashioned guy.
Dear old Wake Forest. This is Wake Forest University, where the greatest tradition is offering opportunity to talented people.
Each new hour holds new chances for new beginnings.
Where small classes, commitment to teaching, and new technology give students an edge. Wake Forest University, where a liberal arts tradition meets the 21st century.
Lovely day here in Tallahassee with some beautiful scenery in the stands, as well as Florida State leads it 35-0. Thad Busby in his final home game as a starting quarterback for Florida State has been near perfect. This scoring drive took only $1.25 in 6 plays, all of them passes.
Yeah, following a 25-yard penalty. Boom, just like that, they make it up.
Speaking of boom, Sebastian Janikowski booms it 8 yards deep in the end zone. Stay tuned at halftime for our Bell South You Call the Play feature as we take a look at a big call from ACC games past. Florida State trying to win another ACC crown with a couple of important games going on elsewhere. Virginia and NC State. The loser there puts itself in jeopardy in terms of the bowl picture, and North Carolina and Clemson with a big game later on at Death Valley in Clemson. Sankey will put it up on first down, hit as he throws, finds his man to Beatty Davis, Tabiti gets it out close to first down territory. It'll be second and short as Greg Spires and Andre Wadsworth took a meeting at the quarterback, but Sankey hung in there and got the completion.
Again, Sankey deserves a medal for just being able to survive this so far. I mean, the pressure from the outside ends. I mean, every stinking play, you end up getting a visitor. You get a visitor to your helmet.
Yeah, I think that's the adjective Ben would use. Second and short, they'll go in the I formation, and he who hesitates is lost. And this time, the hesitation by Herman Lewis prevents Wake Forest from maybe getting the first down. Not that there was a lot of room, but against that defense, you cannot hesitate.
There was a ball carrier, and there were 7 helmets right at the point of attack. What does Mickey say when he goes through his film study? Hey, you guys, you know what? Your socks are pulled up too high. And you know, I don't think your shoelaces weren't tied tight enough. Talk about a brick wall.
Look at
wow.
that. That's unbelievable that you would have nearly half the plays go for no gain or a loss. That's just terrific play. He did get enough progress to pick up the first down. Sankey on the slant route. Desmond Clark, a tough catch. Desmond Clark is playing with a separated right shoulder, and he just hurt it again on his 3rd catch of the afternoon. That ties the Wake Forest single-season record for receptions, and he landed on that bad shoulder, Doc.
It was obvious that he was not 100%. He's a Cadillac as a receiver. Big guy, 240 pounds, good forward lean, makes the grab, and going down, Jack, as you mentioned, hopefully he didn't re-injure it or re-dislocate the shoulder, because it is just a lot of pain. Watch the pound right on. Yeah.
Looks like Samari
rolled right over. Yeah, rolled right over on it.
It's the 3rd catch for Desmond, 69 on the year now for over 900 yards, and that's what he had coming into the game. The thing that the Wake Forest followers are most grateful about is that Desmond's got another year. Quickly, let's go down to the field and Mike Hogwood.
The Wake Forest sidelines have been shell-shocked, guys. They felt it was important to try to hang in the first quarter. They didn't do it, and now they're trying to regroup. Jim Caldwell has told his quarterback and his offense to relax. It's been very tough for them to adjust to the speed of Florida State. Everybody's had that problem that's played them this year, but Wake Forest has really had problems in the line adjusting to the speed of those linemen. They've adjusted a little bit now, but sometimes the other guys are just quicker than you are. But Ben Sankey is trying to relax and trying to get this team pumped up, and those 2 pass completions may help just a little bit.
Wake Forest forced to use a timeout here as they had some questions on substituting. Doc, let's talk about that situation that Mike just brought up. The inability for most teams to simulate in practice the speed you're going to face against that Florida State defense.
Even if you go 1s versus 1s on your own side, if you don't have guys like Spires and Wadsworth, and most people don't, then your tackles, in this case, Flo and Wolverton, don't get that look. You have to put a DB on their edge to get a speed rush, and a lot of times people do that.
The other aspect, too, I think that bears talking about and what Jim Caldwell's trying to achieve, when you've had sustained success like Florida State does, you allow younger players to get game experience quicker because you can make those substitutions without worrying about the outcome of the game as much. And it enables guys, well, Andre Wadsworth was a walk-on, now might be the #1 pick in the NFL draft.
Devin Smith as well, and those guys get a chance to get experience while they win football games. And if they make mistakes, it's hard to tell because guys make up for it by making great plays.
Sankey got the word from the sidelines from Hank Small, the offensive coordinator, and Jim Caldwell, and Wake will have it 1st and 10 out near midfield. He'll put it up on first down. The sophomore out of Chicago trying to go up the far sidelines for Tabiti Davis. Good coverage by Troy Saunders. Saunders, who picked up a fumble earlier in the game, the redshirt junior out of Miami, Florida. And we've got an injured Florida State player down. One of the linemen, looks like it's it's Julian Pittman, 95, the nose guard. Shaken up on the play. See if we can see the injury, Doc.
He's moving in, got good contact, middle of the screen. Say, oh yeah, he gets a leg. turned over.
And then the pile got him.
Pile might have got him. Here's a guy, strong lower body, 450-pound presser with a 30-inch vertical. I mean, this is just how the guys do that. 280 pounds. They can get up to 290.
Julian up and looks like he's going to be all right. Take a look at what's happening elsewhere in college football on this third weekend in November. NC State needing a win to keep its bowl hopes alive with the early edge on Virginia up in Raleigh. Alabama with the advantage at home against number 17 Mississippi State. And West Virginia drilling Temple. The word is Ron Dickerson is going to be out as the head coach for the Temple Owls at the end of the season. Sankey rolling to try and get out of trouble, and then just fired it over the head of Jamie Deese to avoid the sack. It'll be third down. Deese was well covered by Shevin Smith.
Yeah, that doesn't fit into the plan. You got to get back 3 steps and let it go, or as Coach Small mentioned, a quick 5. But when you start trying to rotate the pocket, now you're right in the face of this strong side pursuit. This time Coward is right in his face. Bryant, you have no chance.
Sam Cowart and Tony Bryant putting the pressure on. Morgan Kane, the back who was trying to block on the play, said, you know, the guys weren't that fast up in Canada when I played high school. Desmond Clark back in the ball game. Florida State with the blitz. They had the correct call, the little flip out to Morgan Kane. He was wide open, but Andre Wadsworth got a piece of the pass to break up the play.
Well, you just love it when you see great pass rushers. They can do the little things as well. Get their hands up. If he doesn't get to the quarterback, strong rush, he gets that paw out. And the play is open. You can see in your screen that Kane had some room.
So again, that Florida State defense does not allow much for the Wake offense, and Trip Moore will come on to punt it away. Moore with a high short kick this time. Warrick will make the fair catch at his 20-yard line. 10:16 to play here in the first half. Florida State in its final regular season home game has the huge lead. Back after this word from your local ACC station.
Have you ever noticed some of the things car dealers give you to try to sell you a car? Here's a big favorite. Oh, and I always thought the popcorn was nice too. Some dealers even give away exotic-looking vacations that somehow never turn out to be what they seem. I think if I want a car or truck, I'll go to one of the Proctor dealerships, where I'll get low prices, and I'll get friendly service, and I'll get not to get any of this stuff. I like that.
Get a home equity loan at FMB and we'll send you on a trip. That's right. Close on your home equity loan and take your choice of 6 great deluxe vacations. 4 days and 3 nights in historic Williamsburg, exciting New Orleans, charming Charleston, the Orlando attractions, Nashville, or Hilton Head Island. Choose where you want to go and what you want to do. You can even take the kids along. So get a home equity loan now at an FMB near you and get out of town. An equal housing lender.
On America's Night of Television,
we have the beginning of a diphtheria epidemic.
A devastating outbreak.
Got it.
Could cost a doctor her family.
Washer's sick.
Dr. Quinn. Then, what if you could stop a white supremacist death?
You're gonna be killed. You're threatening me?
Does every life deserve to be saved?
What if I don't know what's right?
Early edition. And an orphan boy with paranormal powers. A sinister government project. And only one force can come between them. Chuck Norris's Walker, Texas Ranger. CBS tonight.
Ford Expedition, the only way to get there.
We'll try and shut down the North Carolina offense in our ACC Game of the Week next Saturday from Kenan Stadium, 12 noon the kickoff. Doc Walker, Mike Hogwood, and yours truly, Jack Corrigan, will have all the action for you beginning at noon on our ACC Game of the Week. Travis Minor, the sensational freshman running back out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in the ball game. He has been terrific since moving into the lineup midway through this season. Busby will put it up and get it to Minor. A little underneath pass will pick up a couple of yards, and it'll be second and long. Travis Minor out of the same high school as Warrick Dunn. Catholic High School in Baton Rouge, was the National Offensive Player of the Year a season ago. Look at that number. Busby has been throwing almost every down. He can't find anybody here till there. DeLon Parrish on the hit, but not until E.G. Green had the catch at the 36-yard line for another first down.
James Bell, the coordinator for Wake, and you go, oh, that's fine. Now bring in another player of the year and put him in the ball game. Here Busby shows a little bit of mobility, and the guys, I mean, Wake Forest can't get off blocks. You got to get off blocks, and you must contain this guy. I mean, he's running free at will at this point.
That needed 417 yards today to set a single-season passing mark, and he's got Pearsall again. Melvin Pearsall, the tight end, inside the Wake Forest 30. Terrence Suber saved the touchdown. Busby might break the record by halftime.
Yeah, John Mannon's locked up one-on-one on Pearsall, who's having a game. I mean, when a tight end can split the zones, one-on-one, he reads a good read by Busby, ball right on the money. You love to catch it in stride. That means you can pick up big yardage.
My ex-tight end partner up here has been jumping up and down every time they've gotten the ball to Melvin Pearsall this afternoon.
Yeah, buddy, that's football.
Busby to throw it again. Another man open again. Lavernius Coles, but good tackling in the open field this time. Making the stop was Mark Mccoy, the junior linebacker out of Pennsylvania.
When you get guys who are former running backs and they learn how to be receivers, learn how to run precise routes, come back to the football, but you know they can run with it afterwards. But that's good defense by Wake. Get them down. And
as you said, Doc, learn to be a receiver. Caught the top half of that ball with his hands, not up against his body. Busby, slant this time, nearly picked off as Kelvin Shackelford dropped off of the line of scrimmage from his tackle spot and had a shot at that one with a big sophomore out of Farmville, North Carolina.
Boy, this is another trend we see now. Florida State, we watched a little bit earlier with the defensive end, but Shackelford shows you why he's a down lineman, you know, and not an old tight end.
Well, that's that zone blitz package. You blitz a middle linebacker and you drop the nose guard off. Third down situation for the Noles. To the sidelines. Warrick nearly got away from D'Angelo Sullivan. No, it's Damian Harrell, number 8 rather than number 9. It's good for another Florida State first down.
Interchangeable parts. Guys' mannerisms start to look alike because they're so fluid. Guys are quick. And they all have that tendency. When the ball hits their hands, I mean, they're ready to take it to the next level.
Thad Busby was a parade high school All-American at Pace High School here in Florida. Was the state player of the year, and he's got terrific fundamental skills. Gets this to Minor, and Minor gets popped by Reggie Austin and got the better of it. Austin is the guy who is still down. It's a short gain on the play, and Reggie Austin says, why did you run that my way?
You come up and you're just about to applaud him for a nice stick. And Minor shows you some of those skills that we've watched a lot of here at Florida State.
Listen to the contact here.
Yeah, it's Warrick Dunn like. Kind of things Warrick Dunn made a living at.
Yep, same high school. He's a little bigger package at 6'1", 190 than Warrick, who of course is having a terrific rookie campaign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's James Bell, the first-year defensive coordinator for Wake Forest. And this is a defense that's played pretty well this year. They're missing A.J. Joyner.
That hurts.
Their terrific senior defensive lineman. Not seen much of Robert Fatzinger this afternoon as well. He's had some injury problems of late. Boy, you wish you'd have everybody healthy and raring to go when you face a challenge like you get here with Florida State. But at this point in the season, that's not usually the case.
No, and their quarterback, Brian Cooklick, if they have Brian in the ball game, there are a lot of different factors. But still, when you play a team that can sense now about being number 1 in the country. Let's watch in a replay. Watch the headgear, because usually you can see you put the head down really put yourself in a position to where bad things can happen to you. You shouldn't really try to drop the head. You want to try to bow that neck and go through. I thought it might have been an ankle or so.
Might have been on the flip over, Doc, because he's getting some assistance as he goes off the field. That completion puts Thad Busby over the 300-yard mark with half of the second quarter yet to be played. Reggie Austin, sophomore out of Atlanta, Georgia. A couple of interceptions to go along to the numbers you saw there. So Thad Busby now is 108 yards shy of breaking Peter Tom Willis's single-season passing record, and there's still a game to go for Busby against the Gators of Florida next week. Busby will put it up again. Now runs out of the pocket. Avoids a tackle. Busby down close to the goal line and close to a first down. Doesn't run it very often. He's had a couple of touchdowns this year. John Mannon and D'Angelo Solomon keep him out of the end zone, but it's going to be close to a first down.
To keep up at this pace, Thad might even break a sweat. I mean, he's set up and he shows you that he can make people miss. That's a good football player that he runs by.
It'll be just shy, so it'll be third and less than 1 from the Wake 2-yard line. Abdullah, the blocking back, in front of Travis Minor, and we've got movement and flags fly again, and it might have been Ross Brannon, the freshman left tackle.
To the snap. False start on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty, and we'll replay the down.
But outside of Kevin Long, the fifth-year senior at center, and Trey Thomas, the fifth-year senior at right tackle, the rest of the Florida State two-deep on the offensive line, freshmen and sophomores, most of them redshirt freshmen. So for Florida State to be number 2 in the AP poll, number 1 in the coaches poll, with the number of youngsters that have played this year, really is a great testament to Bobby Bowden and his staff and how quickly this team has come along.
And you're asked to come in and pass block, which is much more difficult than run block.
On 3rd and 5, they flip it to Minor out of the backfield. Good open field tackle by Jeffrey Myers, and Minor will be about 3 yards shy of the first down. What will the Noles do on 4th down?
Big Shackelford hustled over. He got in a part of that. Tried to take away the cutback. So you get pretty good penetration. Then Shackelford sent him your screen 73. He'll read it. He comes out and hustles. And here's Minor in space. He stumbles a little bit. I think that cost him.
D'Angelo Solomon hung in there to force Minor back inside. Myers came up to make the stop, and so Sebastian Janikowski will come on to attempt his 16th field goal of the season. High snap, but Marcus Outzen got it down, and Janikowski drilled it through. Florida State trying to win its 13th game in 14 tries against Wake Forest. They've got the advantage here in the second quarter.
Thinking about your financial future? What better company to place your trust? Top 10 in U.S. life insurance and growing fast. A major provider of annuities, investments, and retirement planning solutions. Manages $22 billion in assets and does it all with some of the industry's highest financial ratings. Jefferson Pilot. Vision to power your dreams.
Stopping for fast food on the way home from work? Well, there is one place to get everything you need for a fast meal. Food Lion. It's a way to get food fast without having to get fast food. Food Lion. Extra low prices and more.
Excuse me, produce?
Produce, yeah. You go past the tires, left at the car batteries, then right at the lawnmower.
At Food Lion, you find everything you need without having to find your way through everything you don't need.
Food Lion, extra low prices and more.
Well, they're enjoying the action here at Doak Campbell. They usually do Florida State nearly invincible here at home, and they go off on another long drive that for the first time doesn't find the end zone, but Sebastian Janikowski knocks in the field goal to up the advantage to 38-0.
Well, we wondered whether or not they would be focused. I mean, that would be the challenge for the Seminoles following the Tar Heels win, and of course with the Gators upcoming. And they've passed that test so far here in the first half.
Janikowski's kick this time will come down in the end zone to Jamie Deese, but he will keep it there, and Wake will have it at their own 20. Coming up at halftime, well, what can we expect? Mike Hogwood has the answer.
Well, we'll of course have some scores and highlights. A lot of highlights of this game, no doubt, in the first half. We'll also have our JP play of the week. Also, Dave Hart, the athletic director here at Florida State, is going to stop by, and we'll talk with him about Florida State football. There is a lot to talk about, and that's coming up at halftime in just a few minutes.
All right, Mike, this beautifully refurbished Doak Campbell Stadium. They've really made this area of the campus beautiful here in Tallahassee right now. On first down, Ben Sankey with the deep handoff to Herman Lewis with some running room. Good block by Desmond Clark. And Lewis gets it out to the 35-yard line. Best running play of the day for either team, a 15-yard run by the senior tailback, Herman Lewis.
Now, Lewis was averaging 4 yards a crack, and the key is this: take advantage of the strong upfield rush right there by the end. Whenever you get an end, that time Bryant comes upfield. All you have to do is turn him out. Flo does that, and then Lewis gets a chance to get some unfound air and some grass for the first time.
Good block by Brian Wolverton on Theon Rackley, the linebacker as well. 1st and 10, and now movement on the line of scrimmage. Julian Pittman ahead too soon, and then he and Brian Wolverton say, let's exchange recipes at halftime.
Dead ball, prior to the snap, have offsides on the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty.
Doc, Bobby Bowden talked about the concerns of a little bit of a letdown and looking ahead. I would think if Florida State was facing an undefeated Florida team next week, their approach might be a little different today. I think Florida, well, look at that score in the second quarter. NC State still with the advantage.
Yeah,
Florida
ball
maybe
game.
Not quite the opponent they have been in the past couple of years for the Noles. Again, they'll run that running play on the little counter trap, but better diagnosis by the defense. Theon Rackley and Shevin Smith on the hit.
But then again, Florida State has to recognize that how big it would be for the Gators. They would like nothing better than to knock the Noles out of any contention for a national championship. And
Bobby Bowden had the national championship in '93, and these seniors were either being redshirted that year or coming in as recruits, so they want to have that as part of their legacy. The little inside shuffle pass to Morgan Kane. Kane in the open field, up the sidelines, run out of bounds by Samari Roll inside the Florida State 30. A 30-yard gain on the little shovel pass.
we talked about NC State and how NC State had taken that big thrust down early on and continued to fight back. Now, this is an uncommon hole. You don't usually see a hole like that against the Seminoles. But Kane has had some big runs in his career. Again, good blocks downfield, good effort.
Morgan had the 87-yard touchdown run against this Florida State team last year. Best scoring chance of the day. Sankey throwing the screen pass to Tabidi Davis, who breaks a tackle. Davis down to about the 22-yard line. A play that looked like it might lose yardage, gains about 6.
Shevin Smith comes up with a nice tackle. You know, Wake Forest, you get in that offensive huddle, and the guys are conscious of the score. You say, man, we're down, but we've got to get on the board. That's your goal. Avoid that goose egg. See, there it looked like a collision almost with his own guy, Clark, and good tackle by Smith.
Third catch of the day for Tabidi Davis, the senior, his 47th and the 159th of his Demon Deacon career. Blitz. Sankey going deep for Desmond Clark. Contact, but the pass will go beyond the end line, and it'll be third down. Good coverage by Tay Cody as Ben Sankey found himself to the turf at the end of the play.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what kind of tap this is. Oh, that's tender. That's tender. When a middle linebacker hits you like that, that's the only word you can use for that. That's mild, tender, whatever, because that's not normally what they would do for you.
Darrell Bush, the senior middle linebacker, actually a graduate student right now. Dean's List, nearly a 4-point student. Here comes the Dogs. Sankey lets it fly again, and it is intercepted in the end zone. Had to wait for the call and give it to Samari Roll. Jamie D said, I pulled it away from him, but Samari Roll gets his conference-leading 6th interception of the year.
And it's a good challenge. Good idea by Wake. I mean, you got to go for it. Threaten the end zone. The ball is just a little bit too far inside, and that's a great struggle. The ball lands up on his chest. He squeezes it. Good call by the Stripers.
6th interception of the year for Samari Roll, the senior out of Miami, Florida, Miami Beach High School. Doc and I were talking last night. Whoever recruits the Miami area for Florida State deserves a little extra check mark beside his name. There is quite a few from the Miami area on the 2 deep on both sides of the ball. 3rd turnover of the day for Wake Forest, and Busby's going to put it up. Hit as he throws, looking downfield. Good coverage on the play by the Wake Forest defense as they were going for Lavernius Coles.
Makes it a lot
Freddie
harder.
Robbins at the pressure on Thad Busby.
It's a little tougher to do when somebody puts a helmet on your side. Then it's no longer like 7-on-7. It becomes live football.
Florida State has 324 yards of total offense on the day. Thad Busby has been a part of 320 yards of that. 312 through the air and an 8-yard run. On 2nd down, Busby will go down. First sack of the day by it's David Siddell, number 94 rather than Robert Fatzinger, 84. Siddell, coming out of his demon spot, gets his 2nd sack of the season.
Well, the offense showed some spunk on Wake Forest's side. It looked like they got close to scoring zone. Now the defense is coming in. We had a play by Robbins, and now Siddell gets a sack on Busby. You know, you can lay down in a game like this. You can wait until the game is over and get back on the bus, or you can come out and fight for pride.
Now, final game of the year for these Wake Forest guys. For the seniors, their final game in college. Busby on 3rd and long. Will go long for Peter Warrick, and it sails out of bounds. So Florida State will punt for the 2nd time today, and for the first time, Thad Busby has a 3-and-out situation as the Wake Forest defense was able to step up with 2:20 to play here in the first half.
Well, for Coach Caldwell, I think that's all encouraging. They're building a program, and even though you're down and you're playing the #1 team in America, I mean, you still have to show that you have something inside your chest cavity, that ticker.
Keith Cottrell, 2nd punt of the day. Fair catch taken by D'Angelo Solomon, just shy of midfield. They'll spot it at the Wake 47 after the 40-yard punt by Keith Cottrell. Now, Doc, I'm from the Midwest areas where I live, and the talk, of course, there is about the great Michigan Wolverine team, and you wish there was a way that Michigan and perhaps Florida State could tangle, but having seen Florida State on tape and now in person, and having seen a lot of Michigan on tape, I got to go with the Noles. There's a little bit more in their package than the Wolverines have.
Yeah, their offensive package is so explosive. I don't know. But Michigan's defense is awesome. I mean, it would be a game that, unfortunately, we probably won't get a chance to see, but it would be a dandy.
Sam Coward makes the hit on Morgan Kane on the first down play as they try for the quick hitter. The Associated Press top 10 has Michigan #1. Florida State is #1 in the coaches poll. Nebraska is still unbeaten. That Ohio State number is wrong. The Ohio State is actually 8-1. They were knocked off by Penn State. A lot of people in Ohio talking about the Buckeyes still having a shot at the national championship, but we'll need a few things to happen for that to take place. Sankey, quick pass out to Morgan Kane.
Nice move.
Able to run around Troy Saunders and get it into FSU territory down to the 46-yard line. Dexter Jackson on the hit. Gain of about 8 on the play. It'll leave it at 3rd and short for Wake Forest with 1:15 and the clock moving here in the second quarter.
And Hank Small remembered that play. That play was open before Wadsworth put his hand out and knocked the ball down. So they go back to it and find success.
Wholesale substitutions on defense for the Noles. 1 minute to play here in the first half. Sankey down to the 35, goes to Beatty Davis and out of bounds. It'll be another Wake Forest first down. Flag on the play, however, on the near sidelines at the 45, and let's get the call.
Have all sides on the defense. The penalty is refused. First down.
Jack looked like that. It looked as if that ball was tipped. The line of scrimmage. Pretty good concentration. It's kind of sidearms it to get it out. It was tipped. You know, Davis is on the roll. I mean, he has really picked up the slack with Clark being injured with the shoulder. You know, and Sankey has shown, man, he's a fierce competitor. Tough guy. Played some defense in high school, state champion, hoops, baseball, did it all.
13-yard completion. Sankey going that way again. Samari Roll with the good coverage on Desmond Clark, playing with that injured shoulder. Big halftime show on tap coming up. Florida State and their marching Chiefs with Chief Osceola and the rest of the group. They know how to have fun down here in Tallahassee.
I would love to see Mike Hogwood on the back of that horse. That would just make my day.
I don't think the horse would be too.
No, I don't think the horse would like it at all.
28 seconds to go here in the first half. Davis goes in motion on second down. Sankey run out of the pocket, trying to buy some time, and then throws it away, and there's a flag down inside the Florida State 20 as Desmond Clark was trying to get away from Troy Saunders. We might have a defensive holding call.
I think you're right, partner. That's usually where that flag is thrown in that vicinity.
On the defense, that's a 10-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
See if we can pick it up, Doc. Talk about why this would happen.
Well, when the quarterback gets outside of the pocket, you look for the interior lineman. There it is. See, there it is. Little cloth. Whenever they see that cloth come away from the body, you're going to get called. Good call. Another good call. Slowly but surely.
Good pictures by our crew there. 20 seconds to play. Florida State, here they come. Sankey steps up, then runs into one of his linemen and goes down at the Florida State 20. Wake trying to call a timeout, and they stop the clock with 11 seconds to play.
Ben didn't want to run rather. He wanted to throw, and that was a case where he should have run.
Well, I think he wanted to and ran into Brian Wolverton or Jeff Flo, I think.
Then he starts to look up, look a little tentative right about this spot. Yeah, then I think he goes, what do I do? You know they're coming after you. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, well, Wake Forest will have Brian Kuklik back for another year next season, but I think these last 2 weeks with Sankey having an opportunity to play, Doc, has to make Jim Caldwell and his offensive staff feel even better about next year, because now you've got a backup quarterback who will have the experience and who can push your number one guy to perform even better.
And that's the key, that your team realizes that they can win with Ben Sankey. And so far, I mean, if you got a test to go against Florida State and you can hold your own, then obviously you're going to be pretty good for the remainder of the season. Game experience is no substitute for quarterback. They have to play in order to grow.
Everybody in this conference, Jim Caldwell no exception, trying to match the sustained success that Bobby Bowden has enjoyed in the 22 seasons he's been here in Tallahassee. Celebrated his birthday a week ago with the huge win in Chapel Hill against North Carolina. Has lost only one conference game since Florida State joined the Atlantic Coast Conference, and of course the winner will go to the Alliance Bowl, and the #2 team has a chance for the Alliance Bowl or the Gator Bowl. And Wake Forest has to use its final timeout. They took so long getting away from the sidelines that the huddle clock was going to expire on them. Now they have no timeouts left. And really, that forces them to get to the end zone now rather than being able to get a completion and maybe run off another play after a timeout. The conference with an opportunity, Doc, of having at least 4 teams go with the setups to the Peach Bowl and the Carquest Bowl. That, of course, provided they have the required minimum of 6 wins against 1A opponents.
That is what makes today's lineup so important with NC State and Virginia, and as well as Carolina and Clemson a little later on. Should be a heck of a ball game.
Georgia Tech also a team with a possibility. NC State would need to win against Virginia today and East Carolina in their final game to get to 6-5 to be eligible. Virginia needs 7 wins because one of their victories is against 1AA Richmond in order to be eligible. Clemson needs 7 wins for the same reason, one of their wins against a 1AA foe.
Takes you back to that dogfight last week between the Cavaliers and the Yellow Jackets.
11 seconds to play here in the first half. On second down, Sankey looking to the end zone for Tabiti Davis, too far.
You know, they load up with basically 1 receiver. So you got 3 guys covering him, and you got 3 guys who can run with him as well.
And with 6 seconds to play, Wake Forest will opt to try and kick the field goal. Matthew Burdick has a chance to tie the school record if he can hit a 16th field goal here this afternoon. Comes in 15 of 22 for the sophomore out of Mount Tabor High School in the Winston-Salem area. Movement on the line of scrimmage.
I think the Noles just gave him 5.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still play for a fifth.
That will move Burdick back to the Florida State 33, so it would be a 43-yard attempt. He has hit a 46-yarder this year. Desmond Clark is the holder. And this one will sail wide to the left. So as the first half comes to a close, a near perfect 30 minutes of football on both sides of the ball for the Florida State Seminoles as they will take a 38-0 lead into the locker room at halftime. Bobby Bowden heading towards the locker room. Mike Hogwood will try and get a word with the veteran head coach. Let's head down to the field where Mike Hogwood is with Coach Bowden.
Coach, there's not a lot you did wrong there in the first half. Looked pretty good.
No, that's the best start we've gotten off to this year. We had a good start like this against NC State. They came back and nearly beat us, so we got to hold on what we got.
Your offense, though, your quarterback, Thad Busby, seems to be getting more efficient every week.
Well, I sure hope so because our schedule keeps getting tougher.
What about this team now? What do you tell them in the locker room at halftime when you're up 38-0?
Just play hard. Just play hard. Play hard as you can, that's all. And we're going to play a lot of different people, so hope they can play hard.
All right. Good first half. Bobby Bowden headed to the locker room. His team is up 38-0 over the Wake Forest Deacons. We'll be back with our halftime activities here in Tallahassee coming up.
Today's game is brought to you by Exxon, the best way to get there. By Food Lion, extra low prices and more. By Geico Direct, the sensible alternative. And by Bell South. Bell South is proud to be the official telecommunications company of the ACC.
Advance Auto Parts presents part number 64. Tom, head of PDQ.
Hey, groovy guy, I'm looking for a exhaust gas recirculation valve for my 76 Cordova.
If you need hard-to-find parts, it doesn't matter what model or even what decade your car is from. With PDQ, you'll usually get the part overnight. Advance Auto Parts. The best part is our people.
The dream begins here.
I have such a love for this game. Just going out there and seeing, the excitement built around the game. I think going out there on game day is probably the best thing, about college football.
They come from big cities and small towns, and they've been doing it for 45 years in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Watch their dreams come true with ACC football.
Think he's going to show? He's not here, and he's not going to be here. Honey, say something.
This is diet?
How could diet taste this good?
Oh, yes, dear. You've got to try this.
It has been all Florida State so far in this football game. The Seminoles out in front of the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest, 38-0. We are at halftime, and I don't think Florida State has done one thing to hurt their rankings in the polls so far. And as we've told you throughout our broadcast, number 2 in the AP poll and number 1 in the country in the ESPN coaches poll. So Florida State with a lot to play for today. There has been absolutely no letdown at all. This game coming in between games with Carolina and, of course, the game ahead with the Florida Gators. The scoring got started on the very first series for Florida State. They marched it right down the field. Khalid Abdullah scored on a short run to make it 7-0. Thad Busby, and as you heard his coach Bobby Bowden say, he has been so efficient in the last couple of games. He's been efficient in the first half today. Thad Busby to E.G. Green got the second touchdown on the board, and it just kind of crashed from there for Wake Forest. The defense just couldn't react to the speed, and the score now 38-0. Well, another one of those touchdowns is our play, and we're going to take a look at that right now. Of course, Thad Busby, as we've talked about the first half he's gotten his tight end involved in the offense in the last couple of weeks. It's Melvin Pearsall, and here, Pearsall, the senior, number 81, makes the catch and a great move, and it's another Florida State touchdown. Just one of many scores in this first half, helping to account for the 38-0 lead. Melvin Pearsall here on his final day, celebrating for Florida State. Our stat today, total yards, well, 3 times as many for Florida State over Wake Forest, 317-107. And you know, a disappointment for the Wake Forest Deacons. They had the ball in scoring position just before halftime. They had a couple of errors with timeouts, couldn't get a play off, and then they missed a field goal right at the end of the half. No points still for the Deacons. Well, it's time now to update some statistics from around the league. It's called our Pepsi Best of the ACC. We'll show it to you right now. We'll start off. Jermaine Stevens of NC State, 15 carries, 142 yards and a touchdown last week against Maryland. Jermaine Stevens among the league's leading rushers. He's on top. Raymond Priester's number 2. Jonathan Litton of North Carolina is number 3 in that category. We move to our quarterbacks now, and Aaron Brooks of Virginia, 19-26, 308 yards and 4 touchdowns against Georgia Tech. Thad Busby leads the category. Nealon Green of the Clemson Tigers is number 2. And Nealon's favorite receiver is Tony Horn. Boy, he had a game against Duke. 4 receptions, 119 yards and a touchdown. Tony Horn, one of the league's best. Torrey Holt of NC State has really come on at the end of the season. He's had a great year. E.G. Green, we're watching him play today. What a player he is. And another Tiger, Anthony Simmons, takes over our tackles lead. He averages just over 13 per game. He passes Chike Ekpunue, who's led this category most of the season. Eric Barton of Maryland is 3rd. 38-0 on a sunsplash day in Tallahassee. Everyone here certainly enjoying the football game, as most of these supporters here are pulling for the home Florida State Seminoles. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Down South presents You Call the Play.
In 1994, the Florida State Seminoles hosted the Florida Gators in Tallahassee. The Noles trailed 31-3 in the fourth quarter, but after an offensive explosion by Florida State, Brock Preston scored from 4 yards out to pull the Seminoles within a point with 1:50 remaining on the clock. After such a great comeback, would Bobby Bowden go for the win or settle for the tie? You call the play.
You know what I'm doing? I'm applying for a loan. This is Nations Bank. Well, not this, but, you know. See, Nations Bank gives you tons of ways to do your banking. You can actually get a loan over the phone. Hello. Transfer funds, too. Oh, could you hold on a second? Thank you. And they have branches all over. ATMs, just about everywhere. I can even stop by Nations Bank on the net. Oh, I'd show you, but I'd have to get up. Hi, I'm back.
To be a professor is to bring ideas to life, to enrich young minds and gently guide. It is pondering ancient verities and finding new truths. It is making the world a better place by sharing what we know. That's what it is to be a professor at Florida State University.
Clay Espy likes to put in a full day at work and then a full night.
Listen, Clay, I really need to get some air.
Open a window.
No, I just need to clear my head.
Can't you just jog around the conference table?
No, I'd really rather just go
Deep
outside.
knee bends always.
Clay! Sorry.
So when a workaholic like Clay wanted another phone line, he needed Bell South Saturday service.
Hey, good, you got my page. Come here.
That and maybe a hobby.
I want to go over these numbers we were working on the other day.
Even though place kicker Dan Mowry had missed 2 extra points during the season, Bobby Bowden didn't hesitate to kick the point after. Mowry connects and Florida State ties Florida 31-31. You Call the Play has been a presentation of Bell South.
Florida State and Wake Forest today is our ACC game of the week, and as you can see, the Seminoles have been dominant in the first half. You're just joining us. Boy, it's been an offensive show and a very impressive defensive performance as well, as the Florida State defense pitching the shutout right now. And one guy who's happiest maybe of all is the athletic director here in Tallahassee at Florida State, Dave Hart. Dave, I'm going to tell you, this team seems to get better and better every week, and I think now that they have a legitimate shot at that national title, there is a lot for Florida State to play for.
Mike, I've been fortunate in that I've been around athletics virtually all my life. My dad was a football coach and then an administrator. I have never seen the quality level of leadership in any sport as a player, coach, or administrator that this group of seniors has shown this year. And I think that's a primary component and reason for our success is they have just given us terrific leadership.
Well, you have certainly established and regained the dominance that you have in the Atlantic Coast Conference, trying to wrap up another conference championship here today. Has it still been positive for Florida State being a part of this league? I still think that the other teams are climbing up there and getting stronger every year.
There's no doubt about it. It's been a terrific marriage. Our relationship and entrance into the ACC has meant so much to us, and it's been so very positive. And I think last week in Chapel Hill, that was a great week for the Atlantic Coast Conference, and I thought their stadium was wired. I thought they did a great job of maximizing the level of enthusiasm, and we got an awful lot of exposure for the ACC a week ago, and everybody's getting better, Mike, and we like to think that we've had something to do with that, but everybody's getting better, and this is a fine football league.
Well, as an athletic director at a school that's going to contend year in and year out for the national championship, what about the Bowl Alliance? Are you happy with the way that that's progressed and what your opportunities are this year?
Well, again, we're a type of program. We've been so fortunate to have had the success we've had that every year we're trying to win championships. We're trying to win the conference championship and the national championship, and we've got a huge obstacle next week down in Gainesville, and that's always a terrific football game, and we've got some work left here in this second half, but that'll be the biggest game we've played this year, and that is often the case.
Well, you know, as we drove up to this stadium today and all the fans drive up, it has really taken on a impressive look. All the work and the changes that have gone in here at Doak Campbell Stadium. I know it's something you're proud of, and you were telling me a minute ago you're not through yet.
Well, we're working on a 5-year master plan, which basically will address some internal facility needs, and we've done a needs assessment for all of our sports. But as far as the stadium is concerned, I don't think there's a finer stadium in the country, both aesthetically and functionally, than what we're in today.
Well, it really is. Dave, thanks for stopping and visit with us. Best of luck to you and the Seminoles, and I know you'll be the biggest supporter of Bobby Bowden and his crew as they head on down the road.
Thank you, and it's good to have you all with us today.
It's great to be here. Dave Hart, athletic director at Florida State, has been our guest, and we certainly appreciate him being with us here today. Well, as we do each and every week, we have our Jefferson Pilot Play of the Week, and it's time to tell you about that right now. There are actually 2 plays we've chosen. One from the NC State-Maryland game. After a penalty just before half, Maryland gets another shot. They connect on the Hail Mary. Brian Cummings to Omar Cheeseborough for the score. Our second play for the Duke Clemson game. Watch Dewambi settle. Leapfrog. Blocks the field goal attempt by David Richardson. What a great feat of athleticism. And those are our Jefferson Pilot Insurance plays of the week. They were 2 pretty good ones. We've got a lot of great plays here today. Our score is 38-0. Florida State over Wake Forest. We'll be back with more halftime activities. First, a word from your local ACC station.
Yeah, listen up, mate. If any one of you can hit a bullseye, I'll buy you a steak dinner. Did I say bullseye? I meant a triple 20. Did I say triple 20?
For a meal that hits the spot every time, get to Outback Steakhouse.
Did I say blindfolded?
Out of sight, out of mind. You know, we've all heard that before, and it makes a lot of sense in protecting your valuables from theft. That's why I suggest a chest box from United Welding Services for your truck. With their unique lid design and a low, out-of-sight profile, you've got the safest place to keep your valuables. Call 1-800-900-2227 for a free catalog or the dealer nearest you. Aluminum toolboxes and accessories from United Welding Services. Get the best for the same price as the rest.
It takes determination and vision to build a healthcare system spanning generations. Piece by piece, the caring hands of physicians and staff, volunteers, and local decision makers make it work. We care for the sick, heal the injured, and comfort those who can't care for themselves. Why? Because we care about our community. At Tallahassee Memorial, we're more than just a healthcare business. We're in the business of taking care of you.
For all the hard-hitting action and excitement of Florida State football, join the coach and Gene Deckerhoff Sunday for the Bobby Bowden Show.
This week, we'll look at highlights of this year's last home game as we take on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest University.
Burt Reynolds will have a great moment in Seminole football, plus a whole lot more.
Join us Sunday at noon on WCTV Channel 6.
Exxon Company thanks all 9 ACC universities for their support in recognizing their community's outstanding middle schools. As students attend academic pep rallies and visit university campuses, the Exxon Kids in College program hopes to motivate them to set goals and start preparing for college now. This season alone, over 21,000 students at 56 middle schools have been reached. The Exxon Kids in College program congratulates